Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to Tech Tank's February panel discussion. My name is Chris, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a software engineer and one of the community organizers at Tech Tank. And tonight I am super excited to be moderating our discussion that we're calling Coding with Character, the Impact of Personal Passions and Unconventional Backgrounds on Shaping Software Careers. And tonight we'll be chatting with our three lovely panelists, Neha, Kate, and Claudia. So I'm sure most of the new folks here tonight have found us through the Tech Tank meetup page. We're basically an active group of developers, designers, PMs, and other tech enthusiasts that range from junior and early career folks all the way to seniors with over 10 years of experience. So we host these types of job-related workshops and sessions, as well as Study Tank, which is basically more like technical and teaching based, and in-person meetups and social events in Toronto. So if you are interested in joining and learning more, we do have a Slack group, and Neil is going to plug in the link now and also at the very end. And at the end of our session, you'll have a chance to ask questions to the panelists through our chat or by unmuting your mic. We're also going to post a Google Sheets at this moment where you can share your LinkedIn so everybody can connect with each other as well. And with that said, I'm sure everyone is dying to hear from the panelists, so let us bring them up. There's Claudia.
Hello, my name's Claudia. Should I just introduce myself or?
Yeah, you can start us off. Tell us who you are and why you're here tonight.
Sure. I am working as a front-end developer at Top Hat. At Top Hat, we create a virtual online teaching and learning experience for university students and professors. I work for their marketing team, so I mainly manage our corporate site and also work on the catalog part of our main app, which controls interactive textbooks that Top Hat's app provides. Yeah, I think that's about it.
I could be next. Hi, everyone. My name is Kate. I work at Cohere. It's a startup which is work with LLM, and I'm a front-end developer there, managing the website, marketing website for Cohere mostly. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to add.
I guess I can go now. Hi, everyone. I'm Neha. I work as a software engineer at Healthy, which is software as a service for healthcare businesses in the States. And I work on the front-end architecture team. And so we're like responsible for global components and like storybook and like design system and just making sure everyone's following the best standards when it comes to front-end development. And I guess that's good.
Yeah. I just realized that all of us are front-end devs here, which is also really fun. But I think, one of the things that I think people will be curious about and why they're here today is, yes, we heard about who you are, where you work right now, but can you tell us your story about how you transitioned from what you used to do, your previous career or your passion, and kind of what inspired the change and, what brings you here to this conversation today as a result of that?
I guess I can go first this time. So I used to be a therapist for kids on the spectrum, and I did that for almost a decade. And towards the end there, I was starting to get burnt out, and I was into coding kind of like on as a hobby, more so just web design. I started by like way back in like 2016, 2017, I had done like Coursera course on web design, and mostly because I wanted to start my own blog and like I wanted to be able to like manipulate the templates to make them look however I wanted them to look. So quite interested in the aesthetics, and that's how, I guess, that's where my coding journey really started. And I guess the career switch happened when the pandemic hit, and I like the center closed down, and I was at home, and I was like, okay, here's, I have a lot of time right now, and I can, try to transition and like take some courses and try to transition to tech. And that's how my journey started. Yeah, I guess, should I add anything to that, Chris?
I think, yeah, I mean, we'll get more into it after, so
Yeah.
it's totally up to you. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. I majored in fashion business. So I went to university for that. And then I worked as a fashion merchandiser for a couple of years. And then I just randomly, well, not randomly, but I was always interested in tech. So I did my master's in business entrepreneurship and technology. So that was kind of combining my own undergrad major, which is in business, and then my passion for technology. And during that program, I had a chance to work as a management consultant for the Accelerator Center, which is just like a tech startup accelerator. And I got to talk with many different software developers about their work and passions and their personalities. And this was when I thought to myself, why don't I work as a developer in tech myself? Because I realized my interest in technology and my passion for creating, organizing, and paying attention to detail would make me a great developer, and I also get to enjoy working as a developer. So that's how when my journey started, and that was luckily right before the pandemic started.
Okay, I guess I'm next. My journey started in 2008, I think, when I graduated from the university and became an architect back in Russia. I was like really passionate about architecture, but when I started exploring the field, it was such corrupted field in Russia, so I decided to switch. Me and my wife, we moved to the United States, and I faced the question, what do I do for a living? And it's like classics question. And I became a tattoo artist. I opened a private studio on the Fifth Avenue in New York, and yeah, I was tattoo artist for maybe 5-6 years. But pandemic hit, and I had like 1-year-old kid on my hands, and I was decided, what should I do then? What next should I learn? And I found out about the coding and bootcamp called Full Stack Academy. It was one of the best that days, and I just learned, and in 1 month I got an interview, and here I am at Cohere. This is how I get into it.
I
Yeah.
think, oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. Say.
Okay. It it's like incredible, all like these stories. I think the reason I asked you three to come join me today was because all of you have such unique journeys, and it yes, it is your life, but I think it's quite fascinating, your journey to here. And I think, of course it makes a great story, and a great elevator pitch, if someone asks you to talk about you. But um apart from that, when did you realize that your unconventional background, or your previous life, could be a significant asset, for you to start and carry on this new career as a software dev?
I can tell this. It was a fortune for me, I think, because like when I was searching, scrolling these job listings, and I found this one of them telling the artistic background as a bonus for the role, I was like, wow, it's like really me. And I applied immediately, got an interview. It was here. So like it was like a really coincidence, like that everything showed that I had to be there. And it was my pivot point, I think.
I can go next. I guess my moment was pretty similar to Kate's. Since I have a background in fashion, and I believe that my strong visual sense definitely helps me as a front-end developer, I obviously kind of focused on that part when I interviewed with companies that were looking for very visual, kind of smart people because they were looking for front-end developers. And especially when I actually work right now at Top Hat, when I build visually complex components and layouts, it definitely helps me. I feel like it's really useful when I directly communicate with my designers too. So for example, if I feel like I can understand their point of view when they talk about why they want to design things the way they've designed them, because I've kind of been there as well when I worked as a fashion merchandiser. So I can come up with suggestions that kind of still meet their design needs, but are more technically realistic, efficient, and effective. I guess, yeah, the second part of my answer wasn't really what you asked, but it just came to my mind.
Okay, I guess for me, definitely like empathy is huge because, you know, I work with kids on the spectrum. And so like, I think my empathy skills, you know, I hone them like over time. And when it comes to UX and design, I think, you know, being able to relate to the user is huge. And also keeping, and even when it comes to coding, like keeping things simple and not overcomplicating is also quite important as well. And so I think these two things, and for me actually initially when I was thinking about switching to tech, I was thinking about how we worked quite a lot with data. There was a lot of data taking when, you know, working with the kids, and how we used to like analyze the data. And that was actually my first you know, kind of when I first decided to switch, I ended up doing data analytics bootcamp. And that was because how much we used to work with the data, and we used to like you know, try to analyze that data. And that was like the first thought, but also because of, you know, the empathy and everything, like thinking about how the user would interact with the front end, and also keeping things you know, intuitive and also simple when it comes to coding itself. I think these three things come to my mind when I think about how that career kind of, you know, helped me transition over.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for providing those like very concrete examples of how, um, you know, your past experiences and your past expertise is directly translated. I think one of the things that, you know, when I chat with our early career devs, they don't understand how much value there is in what they used to do. And I think a lot of people undersell themselves. Um, but I'm really hoping that, you know, this conversation could be helpful to someone who thinks, you know, less about themselves. But, you know, these people right here are literally examples of how those things can really transfer over. And you may not know it now, but it will definitely show up in your work. So yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit about, I think, you know, how you think this type of diversity of thought in your experiences, not only relate technically, but I guess contributes to um, creating something new and innovation within a team, or in doing or leading or being part of a project at your work.
I guess I can go first this time. The biggest thing that comes to my mind right now is that I can naturally empathize with non-tech people or non-developers. When working on tech projects, there are actually so many different stakeholders that you need to interact with. Obviously, it depends on the team structure, the organizational structure, but in my experiences, I had to interact with a lot of people who do not know how to code. And since I have an unconventional background myself, I've been there. So 5 years ago, I didn't know how to code, and I had to communicate with software developers during my master's program where there were a lot of professional developers. So whenever they talked about different languages, different programming languages, I didn't know how to react. I didn't understand anything. So I think I can more easily assume what non-developers wouldn't understand when I talk about my work and how to do things. And I know how to explain techy things in a simpler way, I would say. So I think this communication skill is one of the biggest assets I have as a developer with a unique background.
I
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I can tell, yeah, about our team. We have like a very diverse team, and I can show the example how diversity is very useful for the team. For example, we are a language model company, and we build the feature with the different languages. And it was super interesting to see how people were discussing like how the phrase should be written, like how, like for example, we have a coworker, he speaks Hindi and he understands how like these letters are spelled, and like from what side the phrase should be written, from left or from right. And it was such a good experience, like to see how this, like if we have like very poor background, like with people with poor background, they will even this will not be even raised in the discussion. Yeah, this is my thought.
I guess having that diversity, not only in like personalities, but also like technical skills, that's how you bring or make that project more concise and more clear and more, like come up with different solutions and think outside the box a little bit. Like you as a a team member, you not only influence the product, but you also influence the processes that the company has, and the communication that the team has. And I think if some people are a little bit more communicative versus some are less communicative, like kind of balance each other out. And so I think my background, communication, collaboration was huge, and also documentation was huge. Being observant and like just writing everything down. And even right now in my current role, like I am quite, like documentation is very important for us. And I think I'm able to like, like with traditional backgrounds, they might not be able to see what is missing or what information is missing. And so for me, like I can contribute that way, but also contribute to the process and give my feedback, which, is one thing I love about my team and the company. They're always looking for feedback on how to make things better. And I think you can just bring a very different perspective to that conversation and to that discussion. And maybe try things that no one has ever thought about before, just because you come from a different industry. Yeah, I guess that's, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think those are it's true. Like, like it's so great when I think having diversity of thought is essential for change. It's essential for growth. It's essential for innovation. If everybody thinks the exact same way, then there's no reason to do anything or build cool new products. So yeah, I think that's what is really important, and we need to not forget about how important that difference is. Now we've talked a lot about kind of how your background has served for your growth and innovation. Have you ever run into any sort of challenges when you were trying to integrate your previous career or your passions in tech? I know I was going to save this for the Q&A, but I think of a common question that people would be curious about is, challenges regarding how you felt about yourself, maybe some sort of like imposter syndrome that you have faced because of this non-traditional background.
I guess I can go first. Yeah, managing imposter syndrome is like probably the biggest challenge coming from a different, industry. And it's not just about, being in a new field, but it's also like a new work environment. Like, I've never worked in a corporate sort of environment. And so, managing that and like how the team dynamics work and the amount of stuff you need to track, like the tools, like, especially being in the field of tech, like keeping up with the tools. So there's a whole lot, and of course technical skills, but like technical skills, get better with time and the more you kind of code. So that isn't as big of a challenge as, managing your imposter syndrome and like just kind of learning how to kind of be in that industry and like learn about the industry and learn about the new culture. Because like for me, definitely like healthcare was very different from the tech industry. So and not just about how things were done, but also like the kind of team dynamics we had. And so there's a lot to learn in terms of that. And yeah, did I answer your question? It was just challenges, right? Yeah, okay.
I think, yeah, for me also imposter syndrome is the biggest challenge. I don't think any other challenges like can beat this challenge. And yeah, and also how fast AI is growing and like how it's developing so fast, and you have to like it's difficult not to fall into panic and like start learning something new, like start like listening to something new, watching new videos about this, and like yeah, I think it's helping. Well, what is helping is like talk to people around you and discuss this, like what other people think about like how it has grown and where, and maybe try to analyze what your knowledge can be useful and what can be improved as well. Yeah, it's like I think like more you learn, less you confidence like in what you already know. So it's like you never be perfect, but you will try to be the best, I don't know, of yourself, right? Something like this.
I obviously went through very similar experiences, yeah, with both of you, but I guess just to talk about something different, I guess I can talk about what I'm going through these days when I work as a developer right now at Top Hat. I have a passion still for visual designs, and it usually benefits my front-end developer career for sure. But because my designers know about my background and they know my passion, they sometimes tend to treat me as their colleague designer, and I get overly involved in the design decision-making process. And I feel like this overcomplicates my work since I can't focus on my actual responsibility, which is coding. So what I do when that happens is I clearly but professionally let the designers know that my opinions and suggestions do matter, and I talk about them, but state that they are just my personal preferences and that I want to trust their own design decisions because they are professional designers, not myself.
Well, that's so interesting. I've never thought about it impacting it in that way. But yeah, that's I'm glad you were able to figure out a workaround on that, Claudia. And yeah, I appreciate everyone sharing their stories about imposter syndrome. But yeah, like exactly what Kate said, like we can't. I think the reason we sometimes get there is because we were so professionally adept in our previous careers. So we sort of by making this transition, we kind of started from ground zero, and still having those extremely high expectations of ourselves. But it's we do have to realize that even people, the smartest people we know at our company, is not perfect. Nobody to be fair, a lot of people don't know what they're doing, and that is totally okay, because as long as you have the mindset to learn and, wanting to, build and grow, I think that is the most important thing. So yeah, if for those folks that are also dealing with imposter syndrome, you are not alone. We all go through those things, and it comes and goes, and that is totally okay. Now, I do have a question about, and I would like to think that things are definitely getting better in the industry. But has any of you encountered any sort of stereotypes or biases as a result of your untraditional background?
I would say that I faced these type of uh, biases because of my like language and like limit of my um, speaking knowledge, like English knowledge. Yeah, it's usually when I face something like this, I'm freeze. I don't know how to respond and try to proceed. And I think actually it makes me feel like that I can grow based on that. So I can analyze what I did wrong or like how I can be better in this way. So I try to make it positive, like positive experience for me.
I guess I can go. Stereotypes and biases. I think so. Like, it's for me. Sometimes I feel like it's very difficult to kind of figure out whether it's my own insecurity that I'm projecting or is it actually a stereotype or bias. But I guess the traditional sense, like me having not coming from like not having like a computer science degree and being inexperienced in that way. I think the stereotype, can be overcome though by building trust, and just showcasing your work and like really making sure that you keep getting better at what you do and keep learning. But I guess that could be one of the stereotypes. But like sometimes it's also like I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like I think about it where I'm like, is it my own insecurity or is it a bias? And then other than that, I guess how I guess the women in tech thing. It's at a very minor level too, but like sometimes you do feel that a little bit, especially if you're like surrounded by just um, like men in tech around you. And so sometimes to like break that ice with them could be a difficult thing, but again it's something that can be overcome pretty easily with team building exercises and stuff. But yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing as Mia. I think maybe I didn't feel it, or I consciously wanted to forget about my experiences like that. But fortunately, I can't really think of anything like that. So I haven't encountered anything, yeah, stereotypical, or felt any biases. But I think I was the one who wasn't confident enough when I first started coding. And actually, even when I was done with my boot camp and started looking for my first step job. So I used to compare myself with other developers with a degree in computer science and convincing myself that there are so many smart and successful developers out there who have unconventional backgrounds. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk to myself and yeah, just think that my unique experience can definitely help me stand out if I have the confidence and have the skills to back it up.
Yeah, totally. I think I'm glad to hear that, most of your experiences have been positive. And I think as a matter of fact, I think when I, at least for my experiences anyway, when I tell them about my past experiences and that I did a boot camp, most people are much more, I would say they are all fascinated by it and nobody has so far been offended that I have dared to enter this field without an SCS degree. So yeah, I think we're all good here. And I think, there's so many people like us. But we all bring so different things, I think. So I think yeah. So yeah, I'm very happy to hear that. Now, how has kind of, I think for Claudia, I think you've been working in the tech industry for what, like 4 years now, I think? 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah, almost 5 years now.
Yeah. And Kate, I think 2, 3?
Less than 2
Okay.
year
And
and a half.
yeah, Neha is like a year, I think, right? Something along those lines. So how has, you all have different experiences, but how has like your now working in tech influenced your maybe current personal passions or interests outside of work? Have you discovered any sort of new hobbies or interests as a result of your career in software dev? Or, even like, are you currently pursuing any other hobbies outside of what you do as a dev?
I can go first. I personally love children. So I now have a brand new, I don't want to say a hobby, because it's a volunteer opportunity for me. So I've always wanted to volunteer with children and have been looking for a good volunteer opportunity. So right after I became a developer, I started volunteering to teach children how to code. So I mainly teach elementary school kids. And for me, I always wait for those classes because they're so meaningful and enjoyable because I get to interact with super smart, creative, and of course, so cute human beings. So yeah, it's a hobby, I would say, because I enjoy it so much. Yeah, so that's my new kind of thing after I started coding.
I don't know if I have like a hobby yet based on the field. It's like I'm super new. I feel super new still. And I feel like some interest. It's like conferences. Like we participated in React conference in Alicante last year. It was a great event. Our team went to the Spain, and it was amazing. And we're expecting another conference this year. I hope Chris will come too. Yeah, and yeah, I also participating in groups like women in tech, and yeah, try to be as involved as I can in something like that.
I guess tech related hobbies. I'm actually currently trying to find a balance and not think about work post work hours. But I guess I have a side project going that's, kind of tech related. But other than that, I'm not really doing anything tech related. In fact, I'm trying to not do coding. So I have taken up pottery recently. And I guess it just gives me a break from staring at the screen and help it's quite a mindful activity. So you have to get it's hands on, and it really I guess taps into your creative self, and I think I need more of that right now. So I'm quite drawn to the creative hobbies at the moment. But I do want to actually, do more with the Tech Tank. Maybe do a class with Tech Tank. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, very soon. Yeah. Hopefully you can teach us something, and actually just like bouncing off of what you said about hobbies outside. I think being as creative human beings as you were in your past life, and you still are very creative people. And I know, for example, Neha, even I know pottery right now is her thing, but she also is a really good photographer. She goes backcountry camping, and she is a road tripper. She's has all sorts of hobbies behind her. And for Claudia, she runs a jewelry business. And Kate is still practicing as a tattoo artist. And I know she just said, "Oh, I'm a tattoo artist." Like, she is like, I don't know, her stuff is amazing. You guys can feel free to plug in your Instagrams here if you want, but she does like realism. I mean, she still does it. So how do you kind of balance, I guess, your life? Oh, also, and Kate has a child too, yeah, which is huge. But but how do you balance these sort of like pursuits of your other parts of your life with the demands of the type of career that we have right now?
I can go. Yeah, it's hard to manage being a mom, like having these type of activities, like being tattoo artist. Actually, being tattoo artist is like more relaxing thing right now. Like on the weekends, you have like your time and do things you like. But yeah, I started attending yoga classes recently, and they not only yoga but meditation as well, and they like have some thoughts like on these classes, and they give me a very good thought that rest is not a reward, it's a necessity. And with this thing in mind, it helps me a lot to give time for myself and uh, be more mindful on the time that I spend for myself. Yeah, this helps me a lot.
Yeah, I agree actually. It's more about like managing your emotions and thoughts to really like give yourself that break and like make yourself take that break, because it is quite mentally taxing, this career. There's so much to learn, and you just there has to be this acceptance that you just can't learn everything and learn, like really go at it like a lot every day. You need to take a break. And so just to be able to manage your emotions and thoughts about that, and like just find something that you really enjoy that helps you disconnect. And like pottery, definitely it's like quite mindful sort of activity, and so I really enjoy it. Helps me disconnect. But yeah, like I am actually trying to find that balance, and I'm not super good at it. I think I've gotten better at it this year, but trying to find more, tap into different aspects of your life, like have a hobby that keeps you fit, and have a hobby that kind of taps into your creative self, and like having a balance of those hobbies. It's quite important. But yeah, it's mostly about just like managing your emotions and thoughts, like being self-aware, knowing when you're about to burn out, and like taking care of yourself in that way.
Yeah, very, very similar thoughts. I guess just trying to focus on your work from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday is a very important thing. I work from home completely, so it's sometimes very hard to focus on your work. You have your phone right in front of you. I sometimes want to do my laundry just like at 2 p.m. randomly, so I try not to do that. And yeah, just think about my work and finish work at 5 and try not to work after that, because you need to kind of disconnect and focus on your hobbies or whatever you want to do after work. So having that kind of break for your brain is very important, because I have so many different hobbies. I'm into so many different things, but I think that usually helps me rest from all the techie things that go on your life during weekdays from 9 to 5. Yeah, so I guess very similar opinions.
Yeah, for sure. I think um it rest is sometimes um something that we take for granted or think that it's not important. And I think especially, I think Neha and I are relatively similar in our career journeys, where we are trying to just grind it out because we think we need to do more. But I think at the end of the day, we are doing this for ourselves. So making that time to meditate, to let your creative juices flow outside of work is extremely important. Yes, and exactly. Rest is a necessity and not a reward. Like, words to live by. Amen to that. You know. So thank you for that. So I have one final question before we head into the Q&A section for the three of you. And we always kind of close off with some kind of final words, advice. But what advice would you give to someone who is entering the tech industry from a non-traditional background, or someone who has, diverse interests outside of coding?
I'll go first. Throughout my experience working as a dev on different freelance projects and in a couple different employers now, I can confidently say that so many people and companies love candidates like ourselves with diverse backgrounds and passions. Fresh perspectives when looking at different tech problems or any other problems that come up are always welcomed. And I think there's so much you can bring to the table using your own unique skills and interests. So I guess that kind of sums up everything I've just said for all the other questions. But yeah, I can confidently say that we should always believe in ourselves.
I guess I can go. So I guess I have a lot of advice, but try to keep it short. I guess be patient with the process. I think that's one of the things that people are like. I feel like you have to give it time to kind of manifest, and keep doing what you're doing, of course, like keep learning, keep building, and but be patient with the process. It will take some time, and you will get through it, and you will make that transition. And I think like us three on the panel here are like huge examples of that. So yeah, just keep grinding, keep doing, and be patient.
Okay. So I also have a lot of advices if you ask me. Um, the main thing is, I think, building network. It's one of the most difficult things to do, but it's super necessary to do. But you keep in mind that it will help you to find a job. But with this idea in mind, don't like just send the request to the person and ask for a job. it will not work that way. You need to find the community that you enjoy, and this community will enjoy you like as well. Maybe start building like a small projects that will help you to understand what questions during the building this project. Some questions will rise. This question you can post in some like forums and chats or whatever. It will help to get involved in this community, and this is how you can start building it, I think. Yeah, show your passion to what you do.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, like I think curiosity is huge. Just be curious about the people you're meeting, and you know, like it will show in your conversations as well that you're interested in the field and you're interested in learning about software development, and it depends on like what questions you ask. And so just be curious about everything, and when you meet people, and of course like I landed a job through networking, so I know how important networking is. And so but even with networking, I'd say like you don't see the result of networking like a month later or anything like that. It takes like 7 months later, 8 months later, like it, you know, you see the fruits of the tree that you planted with, you know, with the relationships that you built with people. And so again, just be patient with that as well and keep doing it. Like don't stop. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for all of your words of advice. We are going to move on to the audience questions at this point. So I have a couple of questions with me that I'm going to read out to you. If there are any other audience members that have any questions, feel free to pop it in the chat, pop it in the Q&A, or raise a hand if you would like to directly ask the panelists yourself. But I will start off with Lawrence's question. He asked, I know it was mentioned that all the panelists are front end, but he would like to know what your tech stack is, and also how did you deal with learning an unfamiliar tech stack?
I can go first. So currently I'm working with TypeScript and React primarily, and like we have Ruby on Rails in the backend with GraphQL. And so they were pretty much all new to me. Like TypeScript was new to me, GraphQL was new to me. Ruby on Rails is still like, I'm still learning it. And so I think the best way to learn is to just build something with it. And, you know, start very small, start with like the YouTube tutorials, but just build something with it. And then you can keep taking it up a notch slowly. And yeah, you just have to start, like you just have to build something, and that's how you learn.
My tech stack is also TypeScript and React. For me, learning is like also building something, but the same thing that I said already before, like read forums, watch videos, how something is built. Sometimes I use GitHub. For example, I have like something that I don't know how to build. I just type in GitHub like a part of the code that I'm really sure that it should be there, and like I see how other people build something based on this, and yeah, this is very helpful for me.
My current stack also very similar. I work with React, TypeScript, and since our corporate site is a WordPress site, I also use PHP, which I don't really enjoy, but I also used to use Vue for my previous employer. So I've been, kind of dealing with so many different tech stacks. And I think I usually use YouTube videos as well when I first start, just to kind of give myself some kind of time to just kind of listen to someone talk about a very new, like a brand new technology. But after spending like 30 kind of minutes, I just randomly start building something out of it, because I think I learn best when I actually build something. And whenever you have any friends or colleagues that can help you learn some new things more quickly, I think it's a little more efficient sometimes if you just ask questions, if you have the resources.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to move on to, this is interesting. So how did you manage compensation when you switched careers? For example, some recruiters lowball because non-traditional backgrounds and not considering one's total career experience in determining comp. Any thoughts on this?
I'd say just know your value. You know, how making sure that you know what you're bringing to the table and being confident with that, and just learn how to negotiate better. And I like, even for me, like, I'm not super great at it, but it's something that all of us need to kind of build that skill. But yeah, just know your value, and know what the compensation is in the market at the moment. Like, look up the numbers, and I don't know. I guess that's it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with it. Talk to people in the field. Make sure that you're like, know your value, make a research. Don't feel like you're not good enough. Like, a lot of people feel like this, and don't feel like this. Try not to.
Yeah, same thoughts. Do your research, and sometimes just talk to your friends if you're comfortable and if they are comfortable, because sometimes that's more accurate than just Googling. And don't be afraid to negotiate, because the worst thing that's going to happen is the company will just say no, but you'll still get the job. Like, they won't, just say goodbye just because you tried to negotiate. So always try and be confident.
Yeah, this is very true. Yeah. And if they do say goodbye, though, then, I mean, that's just weird.
Yeah, it's lucky that
Yeah.
you found out that they're not a good employer. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, next question. For job seekers who may feel uncomfortable discussing their non-technical interests or skills, what ways or ideas did you have to share to attract opportunities?
Sorry, what was the first part of the question?
I'm a little confused by for job seekers who may feel uncomfortable discussing their non-technical interests, what ways or ideas did you share to track? So I guess this is saying, like, if are there any other ways that you can sell yourself if you don't want to necessarily reveal your non-technical interests, perhaps? And my immediate thought to that is, why wouldn't you reveal your non-technical interests? I think that's very important that you just do.
And in my experience, like, networking, don't just bore people with talking about coding. Like, talk about your personal life, what you're interested in. You can build relationships, using your personal life as well, and the things you're into. You never know what kind of breaks the ice with someone, and like what helps someone else catch or like you catch someone else's attention. And so use everything you've got in your toolkit. Whatever you're passionate about, people are passionate about all kinds of things, and it's very interesting. So yeah, share them, even at those networking events where you're just talking about technical stuff. Just share everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna move
I
on.
have something to add.
Oh,
It's
sorry, go ahead.
really quick. I love wine, and my first tech employer was a startup that builds a wine cellar management app. And the biggest reason I stood out as a candidate was because I love wine. So always talk about your passions.
Yes, this is very important. Yeah. Okay. Next question. I want to transition into tech, but I'm worried about the industry layoffs recently. How is the current market, and is there freelancing, contracting gigs in the field to get started?
You know what? Like I was anxious about the same thing, but I still landed a job. So there are jobs out there. You just have to, get out there, I guess. And that was it for me, like just getting out there, meeting people. Um, and what's the second part of the question?
How's the current market, and are there still jobs out there? And I think
Yeah, there are. Yeah, just yeah, explore, get out there and explore.
Okay, since there's 3 minutes left, I'm just gonna keep going with the questions, and whoever just jumps in can jump in. Did any of you have mentors? If you did, how much did it help you in your career?
I guess one.
I can tell.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. Yeah, like I have a very good person who helped me to grow in my team, and it helped me a lot. I had like PR reviews, like with 70 comments on it, and it helped. Like, don't hesitate to ask. Uh, and don't hesitate to bring something that you don't know. It's never like nobody knows everything, but if the person know, probably they will share with you their knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can quickly add to this. Like, actually, as a matter of fact, Claudia was my mentor, was my first mentor. So yes, it helped immensely. She helped me get my first job in tech. So yes, 100,000%. Um, yes, so if you don't have a mentor, go out and get a mentor. We actually have a mentorship program at Tech Tank, so you can join our Slack group, and we'll tell you all about it. Okay. Oh my God, so many questions. Do you, okay, this one, do you work remotely? Actually, yeah, I can answer this for you. All three of these lovely humans work remotely. And is it okay to want to work mostly remote? Yeah, why not? We have the benefit. What is your opinion on QA tester market? I don't know. I don't think any of us are experts to answer that. So I think Neil is answering that for you. Next question, does it really take 6 to 7 months to find a job, especially in this market? Is it really difficult right now? Would you recommend learning something with AI or sharpen your basics with DSA? So where do we focus to be safe in this market? Yeah, there's a lot of questions there, but I think, does it take a long time, and what should they be focusing on?
I mean, it took me 7 months to land a job. Yeah, so it does take time. And that's why I was saying, like, just be patient because it will pay off. Yeah, I don't know what else to add to that.
Yeah, it took me about 5 to 6 months as well. And when I talked to my friends, a lot of them took longer than that. So yeah, also, yeah, I also want to say be patient.
I was lucky. I got my job in 1 month. So I can't tell, but I have friends and they usually spend a lot of time to get a job. But the advice from me, I found my way to find a job. I really tried to find the niche where I can find a job, and this has helped a lot. I immediately when I graduated from the boot camp, I didn't like sit and think what should I do, but I just starting building the path to go. I participating in meetups. I started having like this Slack communities that help find a job. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, it really depends. And sometimes it's a little bit of luck too. So we can't sugarcoat it, right? Sometimes a lot of people say, yeah, you're going to get a job in 3 months. I mean, it's a case by case scenario. It could take you a 1 year. It could take you several years, but the point is you just keep trying. Okay. Oh my God. It's 9:01. Are we okay with one more question and then you're okay? Okay. I appreciate it so much because I think this is a very good question. And then that's it. This is the last questions. I'm sorry, everybody. But what is the biggest challenge from going from project code to production level code?
To know what production level code looks like. If you have like no experience in it, like you don't even, like, how do you figure that out? You know, it takes, I think you have to have like an advisor then who can like advise you on how to take it up that notch. And the thing with internet is that there is information out there, but then you'll have to be able to sort through that information to find the right right stuff and making the right decisions about what, like there's a whole lot that goes into it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the best scenario would be you have a mentor or a more senior developer who would look at your code and give you thorough and proper code reviews, which doesn't happen every day, of course, or to everyone. But if you don't have that, always Google stuff and try to just look at, I would say, properly written kind of articles that talk about stuff that's related to what you're trying to code. That personally helped me a lot whenever I didn't have anyone to ask. But if you have any friends, any senior developers around you, always ask questions because human beings are a lot more efficient to work with.
Cool. Okay, so that is a wrap to our Q&A. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you especially to our three wonderful panelists, Neha, Kate, and Claudia. Would love if you can add yourselves to the LinkedIn sheet as well so people can connect with you further. I think, honestly, this was we've had a lot of panel discussion so far. I've never seen this many questions ever. So that is a very good thing. And I, thank you for such an engaging audience, everyone. Neil is going to plug in the Slack link again. Someone mentioned that it wasn't working. So maybe just double check it. Yeah, it looks like the Slack invite link, Neil, can you verify that that's the right one, please? Okay, thank you so much. And the LinkedIn Connect sheet is there. Please follow us to receive alerts for future events. There's what we're going to be plugging in our meetup page, our LinkedIn page, and our website. If our Slack invite link doesn't work, there's a link to it on our website as well. So yeah, Neil is going to post all those three in a second. We have lots of events coming up. In fact, we have one coming up tomorrow. If you're in Toronto, it's at Microsoft. We're going to be talking about LLMs. Next month, we haven't fully announced it yet, but there is a Women in Tech panel discussion that will be happening in March. We're very excited for that. And if you, love what we do and want to support us, you could always feel free to send us a donation. That link can be found on our website. And I think that is a wrap for tonight. Thank you so much. I think we can stop the recording. And thank you so much for sticking around an extra 5 minutes. But